Today I'm going to introduce you about the GUI. What is GUI? And in this class, I'm particularly will use Qt Designer. GUI. Okay, we call it GUI is the graphical user interface. So GUI, yeah, we call it G, U, and I. That's why if I mention this one very fast, it's like GUI. So the GUI familiar to most people today are the Microsoft Windows. You can use this Windows. It means they have the GUI. And then if you use Mac, yeah, of course, your GUI is based on the Mac. And the X Windows system, like say you have the Unix, okay, or some related to the smartphone. Maybe you use the Android, or you use the Windows Phone, or you use the iPhone, and etc. Everything will use GUI. So GUI in Python, Python has a huge number of GUI framework. We call it its framework because each of the framework will have different way to implement the GUI, or sometimes we call it toolkits. So it is available for the Python. For example, the old one is Tinker. Tinker is traditionally bundled with Python using TK, and there are other kind of cross-platform solution. Cross-platform solution means if you develop in Windows, okay, if you develop in Windows, you can open the program in other platform. So you can open in Android, you can open in iOS, and etc. But sometimes the framework is limited only one operating system. So if you create the GUI in Windows, you can open only in Windows. Okay. So this is also, yeah, you need to explore what is the good framework for your project. So I can just give you some introduction like Tinker. Okay. Tinker is a GUI framework. It is very popular programming package for graphical user interface or desktop apps. It is named Tinker. It is the simplicity. Then, yeah, if you can have this GUI builder, it is good. Kiwi. Kiwi is another Python GUI framework. It is based on the OpenGL, so it is a kind of software. And this is the software for accelerating the framework for creating new user interface. So the best thing about Kiwi is it supports multiple platforms. So when you design this GUI, you can use it in Windows, you can use it in Mac, you can use it in Linux, Android, and also Raspberry Pi. Do you know Raspberry Pi? So you can search on the internet. This is a kind of small device or small computer. Okay. So this kind of framework can be applied in this small computer Raspberry Pi. And the good thing is it is open source. Okay, you don't need to pay. And it comes with 20 widgets in its toolkit. So there are, we call widgets for this one. There's another kind of framework, we call it WX Python. This is also open source. Okay. So for me, I think I like open source. Okay. You don't need to pay, and you can use it anytime. Yeah. And this is also cross-platform GUI. And when you use this cross-platform, it is only based on the desktop. So you can use for Windows, you can use for Mac OS, and you can use for Unix or Linux. If you're just beginning to develop application, yeah, there's a good tutorial you can go through. So it is simple, but I will not use this one. There's another kind of framework, we call it PyGUI. PyGUI is graphical application cross-platform. You can use for Unix, you can use for Mac, you can use for Windows. Okay. Compared to the other kind of GUI, it is the simplest one and lightweight. It means the size is very small. Okay. So you don't need to have a very huge file to develop the GUI. PyGUI inserts very less code between the GUI platform and Python application. Hence, the display of the application usually display the natural GUI of the platform. Yeah, this is very good if you can understand the GUI with less code. So you don't need to code many things, but the view is good. This is another kind of framework, PySide. Again, this is free, okay, and this is cross-platform. And it applies based on the Qt. So Qt is one of the tool of the GUI, and it has been sponsored by Nokia. Nokia is a kind of telecommunication company in Europe. So Qt is a UI framework and cross-platform. You can use in any platform like Linux, Mac, Windows. And PySide is also works with multimedia. For example, if you want to put video, or you want to put some animation, okay, or you want to put some web documents, then it works well. So the key feature of PySide is its API compatibility with PyQt4. And PyQt. So I'm going to teach you using this PyQt. Why? Because this PyQt has advanced tools like what you saw before. The PySide, it is based on the PyQt. So if you can know about the PyQt, you can also do later with some kind of web application. So PyQt is one of the favorite cross-platform Python binding, implementing the Qt library for the Qt, which is owned by Nokia, application development framework. And PyQt is available for different platforms like Linux, Windows, Mac, and also there's an OS shop, Zaurus. So the combination to create a program by coding or using Qt Designer to create visual dialogues. So yeah, we are going to make something like this one. There will be a kind of studio, because this is studio. And in this studio, we can drag and drop. It is easy. And also you can do some coding. So the basic structure with this UI, you can just drag and drop. After that, you can do the code to make the logic. So that's why I use the PyQt for our course. Of course, I don't mind if you want to use another GUI programming. So you can look at this Wikipedia for the Python. You can use Tinker. You can use some other kind of GUI framework, but I will teach you using PyQt. And yeah, at the end of the semesters, you will do the presentation for your team project. I hope that you can implement this GUI. I will need more time for this installation, So I will keep this one for the Thursday class. Stop here. Any questions, comments?